Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Occult Perspectives. So this is actually the first YouTube video that I am recording with my new phone. I just recorded, I had my friend record a video that I hope to post on the Patreon, which is an instructional video that we actually did outside in the woods at a nearby park. It's pretty secluded, so there's not very many people that, hardly ever go back there. It's a pretty safe place to do ritual. I've been doing meditations and ritual back there since about 2016 or so. So I've been familiar with those woods. But I'm hoping that video will upload to Patreon. So for those of you who are interested in maybe joining the Patreon, if you want an instructional video of the Lesser Invoking Ritual of the Pentagram, if everything goes well, I should be able to post the video. Hopefully I won't have any problems uploading it. It's a newer video, so it was recorded on my new phone, and hopefully that goes smoothly. I also have the prologue and the first 4 chapters, I believe it is, of my book, Freemasonry and Ceremonial Magic, on there as well, where I dive into and start getting into the connection between Freemasonry and ceremonial magic. What are some of the similarities, what are the differences, and I give information about my particular journey and my insights as a Freemason in that book, as well as I'm going to be talking about my experiences with ritual magic as well. So it's not a completed book as of yet, but there are sections of it that are definitely pretty extensive. There's many parts I kind of have to just go in and fix a couple things, but I will be, continuously releasing that book on my Patreon, and now hopefully this ritual video will be up on the Patreon as well. It's only $5 to join. So thank you to my patrons so far, Cory Falcone, Joseph Arthur, Nicholas, and Isaac Mason. Those are my patrons now at this point. So if you decide to be a part of that, I will include your name in the description and somewhere in the video of every single video I do and upload to YouTube, to give you recognition for being a supporter of what I'm doing on here. If you don't know who I am already, my name is Tyler Smith. What I do on this channel is I break down different esoteric research subjects, such as Kabbalah, the Tree of Life, Freemasonry, Golden Dawn, the Lesser Invoking Ritual of the Pentagram. We get into ceremonial magic on here, obviously. So these are all things that I talk about. I have experience, I'm a Freemason, so there's a lot of misconceptions about Masonry and that they're like devil worshippers and like all of this crazy nonsense. So I like to come on here and I like to dispel a lot of those, just kind of made up things and really get into the true esoteric and occult teachings of, what Freemasonry teaches at its core, which is really just love, honestly. And I think that's the subject that I'm going to get into for this video. When people think that, Masons are like, the devil is not mentioned in any Masonic, really any degree work or anything. Lucifer's not even really mentioned. Sometimes the planet Venus will be mentioned, or the morning star, but Lucifer's never really talked about. I've talked on this channel about how Lucifer is an important spirit. When you get involved in initiation into any system, it doesn't matter what system it is, these darker, quote-unquote darker entities, that doesn't mean evil, it just means they represent the negative polarity more. They are going to show up in your existence. They are going to, when you work with the light and you try to be a beacon of light and you are initiated and you receive light, and especially when you're doing rituals such as the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram or the Lesser Invoking Ritual of the Pentagram, joining, a mystery school like Freemasonry or any kind of order, or if you go through any kind of initiatory system, you're going to work through dark energies, and dark energies are going to be, come into your life to try to either be a catalyst for your change or to destroy you and tempt you. And so you have to learn to use darkness to your own benefit, to your own advantage, and not let it destroy you, but rather understand it, observe it, come to actually love it and appreciate it. Because remember, wherever light shines, there is a shadow cast as well. So it's important to remember this. So yeah, these are all just general things I've been discussing in the video so far, kind of describing my channel and what I do. Freemasonry, I talk about Freemasonry a lot. We had a very powerful full moon, I felt like, in this last cycle. And I went to a Scottish Rite event on that full moon day. Yeah, it was Saturday that we had the full moon. So I hadn't been to one of those in years, and that was really nice to be a part of. So without further ado, the topic of this video, let's get into it. I think I've kind of intuitively decided what I want to talk about. There's a lot of different subjects and topics that I've wanted to discuss lately. I have a whole list of them. But let's get into the power of love. Cosmic love, as I would call it. So there is kind of this whole, especially in the love light community, there's kind of a more superficial understanding of love. But really, when we learn to work through darker aspects of ourselves, when we initiate into deeper parts of ourselves and we work through those aspects, we can really learn to love not only ourselves, but others as well in that process. Because if we don't have a good foundation for ourselves, if we don't learn to love ourselves for, all the parts of ourselves, the light and the dark, that's really being holistic. If you learn to appreciate and integrate all these different parts, so you can love yourself in a much more complete way, and then you can spread that out into the world. So this whole process of love, the better connection you have with the source, however you want to view the source. In Masonry or any other mystery school, it's really kind of up to you to decide how you're going to view source. Whatever your spiritual tradition is, there's so many different traditions. They're all, valid. And you need to walk the path that really resonates with you. Find out what it is that you are in energetic resonance with. And what, if you are going to go down a path, find out if that's something that you can actually, work through or not. For me, Clipothic initiation is something that is of very high interest, but I also know that's not my intuition. My intuition knows that that's not what is right for me at the moment to purposefully initiate into the Clipothic realm or Universe B. Now, there have been times in my life where I have unconsciously entered into Universe B, whether it be through initiatory processes, ritualistic processes, or life choices. Especially earlier on in my life, where I had, death and resurrection moments, where I really kind of left the mundane world and was born into Universe B. And because of that, I had to work through so many things and integrate so many things so that I could come back to the light, be brought back to light in a higher degree. The more darkness you've worked through and integrated, the higher degree of light you are able to receive. Let me repeat that again. The darker aspects of life that you've been through and you've successfully conquered and integrated, the more able you will be, the more ability you will have to actually absorb light and be brought to light, a higher level of illumination or a higher degree of understanding. You'll be able to appreciate the heavenly so much more if you've worked through darkness. If you don't, if everything's just been good your whole life and it's been handed to you, that light is going to be a superficial light. If we receive light, if we are brought to light in a way, but yet we just refuse or negate or reject all darkness, we shut out the needs of the world and we're like, you know what, we're just going to live in our ivory tower and not worry about developing ourselves any deeper, or just ignoring the whole world, the outer reflection in general, that is also going to lead to a more superficial gaining of light. So it won't be as genuine. So love, what is this cosmic power of love? When we learn to love Source, whatever the nature of the divine that we see fit, you know, whether this has sometimes it has a darker aspect, because, you know, the manifestation of all life is both positive and negative. So we need to really take that into account. And there's a balancing system that takes place. So when we view deity and when we love Source as we love ourselves, because we come to understand that Source is ultimately our highest self. It's our highest self which already understands and knows and loves. It has unconditional love. It just continues to give and give and give as the experience of life. We are Source experiencing itself. If you come to not just a book knowledge of this, it's not just a book knowledge or intellectual understanding. It becomes so much deeper. It's a deep internal knowing that no matter what, you have that love for Source and you have that love for yourself. And when you have that, and you have that fiery love and really warmness about yourself and in your heart, there's a section in the Master Mason degree where we talk about the pot of incense. It's an emblem of a pure heart, and it represents just that love and affection and that true, genuine, you know, care that we have for our fellow man, especially others who are on the path of self-discovery. You know, everyone is where they're meant to be in their life at this moment. Not everyone's meant to go through this awakening process. Not everyone's meant to do ritual magic. Not everyone's meant to be initiated. And that's fine. But for those of us who do choose to walk this path, it does enable us to have a deeper bond and a deeper connection in that way. And that's kind of what Freemasonry is, but it really goes beyond just, you know, traditional lodge Freemasonry. It's a brotherhood and a sisterhood of humanity. And it really goes even beyond the human race. As we said, this is Source consciousness. This is Source love. This fiery, blazing star of love. And it almost becomes like we just want to share this information. We really want people to be able to experience the feelings of really bliss and divine presence that we feel like when we're in our, you know, really in our deepest moments of meditation practices, where we're really connected to the Source on a very primal, very, you know, pure level. Just the fact that you even are into these practices and can even have these higher concepts and ideals, when people of like-mindedness in this way get together and they form, you know, it is like they are the pieces of the temple, the spiritual temple here on earth, rebuilding King Solomon's temple. It's about rebuilding this spiritual temple on earth as a brotherhood and sisterhood of people who seek to really understand themselves on the deepest levels. And really that's goes for the positive polarity and the negative polarity individuals, whether you consider yourself, quote, left-hand path or, quote, right-hand path. I actually wanted to give a shout out to, if you follow left-hand path, if you are more rooted in the left-hand path initiation stuff, I highly recommend, I think his channel is called Spectre Ball, Spektor, I think, Baal, Spectre Ball. His channel's really good. I've been watching some of his stuff lately. So if you want to learn more about the left-hand path, highly recommend checking him out as well. Meant to mention that earlier in the video, actually. But getting back to cosmic love, and see, there's an example right there, of someone who is even, left-hand path people. I'm going to promote their stuff if they have a true understanding of the occult and initiation. They're not going to be so polarized to where they can't understand the holistic nature of these things. And really anyone who's on any particular path, quote unquote path, because it's all one path, your soul will definitely polarize towards one or the other, negative or positive. I myself still, even though I'm pretty gray, I consider myself a gray magician. I work with both a lot of positive and a lot of negative. I do probably ultimately lean a little bit more towards the negative polarity in a way. But there's also that kind of that martyr or sacrificial aspect of the self. Now, a lot of people, I'm going to get into the whole, kind of the good shepherd concept a little bit. Now, a lot of people, they just kind of sacrifice themselves in a superficial way, or in a way that is only taking away from their highest self. There's different modes or recognition or ways to sacrifice oneself. If we look at the Jesus archetype and how he just straight up died, and this is what the churches focus on. They focus on the death, the crucifixion of Jesus, like he died for our sins. There's different ways to sacrifice yourself in a loving way, and this comes back to the whole cosmic love theme of sacrificing in yourself in a way that isn't so much as a literal sacrifice. It's not that you're allowing your enemies or the profane to just take away and eat at your soul essence and your energy. Don't sacrifice yourself in that kind of way for the system or for the false matrix, but rather become a teacher and a liberator of other people. If you see potential in someone, if you realize that maybe they could benefit from this kind of knowledge, maybe they need to learn about spiritual truths, and you can be a teacher to them, you can be a mentor, you can be a guide, you can be someone who, quote unquote, shows them the light. That is a positive sacrifice. It's a sacrifice in a way that, maybe taking up some of your time, maybe taking up some of your energy, but you are planting a seed in a human being who feels a soul calling for higher knowledge and higher information. And if you're able to share what you know with that person, and you can help them on their journey, there's karmic benefits that come from that. There's karmic benefits that come from, so it's not just a lose-lose situation all the time, especially people that we love and care for. The people that we love the most and who we genuinely have care for, we should make space to allow them to grow in the way that is best for them. And that's kind of what real love is, in a way, is it's helping each other evolve and helping each other grow. So it's you allowing and creating that space for that garden to grow, for that beautiful manifestation to take place. And that is each person really following their higher calling, their higher passion. And that's more the beautiful, way of looking at do what thou will shall be the whole of the law. That's really what that means, is for each person to follow their true will. And Damien Eccles, he talked about in his newest video with Freemasonry, which is really good, by the way. If you haven't checked that out, I highly recommend that you do. He talks about, the 24-inch gauge and measuring out the work of the building, the quote-unquote Solomon's Temple, but the people in our lives being the connections that we make. And, realizing where connections need to be stronger and maybe where connections need to be severed, so that it all works in a harmonious way, so that we each evolve in the way that is best, for each of us on our own individual path. What is going to help this system? That's what a lodge really is, or a temple, or it should be anyway. I hear about, like, in the Golden Dawn, at least in the modern Golden Dawn temples, there's a lot of, like, power struggles that take place. I hear that a lot from people who are members of the Golden Dawn temples. And they get kind of caught up on just ritual and all of these things. And while ritual and all that stuff is important, at the end of the day, I had to take a step back from doing meditations and rituals all the time, because there were other things in my life that needed my attention, and that's where I needed to be at that moment in time. It wasn't Tyler's time to initiate through the Gupath, or to do any extensive invocation or banishing of anything. It was a time for me to just sit with myself and process and integrate some emotions, rather than just trying to move on and push forward and banish away and reject it. Instead sit with it and integrate it and question. Sometimes you have to question yourself: is this what I really want? Is this, what things are best for me and what is not? What am I willing to sacrifice and what am I not? So that's just a little side note right there. To get back to the theme of love, true love, this cosmic love, this fiery, blazing, burning passion, that's not overzealous, but is very caring. It starts to become like a love that a parent has for their children. And I have a son now, and I'm learning a lot from being a parent, and that's kind of what source love is like. Source is like our parent, because it is our own highest self. We came from our parents came from their parents. It all came from an original source, which is feminine in nature. The original source is, the dark chaos, the Ein, which is more feminine in nature than it is masculine. Those energies came more after the first ray of light, which is very analogous to the sperm, going into the egg. All of these types of things. So really it started with more the egg of life. Then you have the Ein Sof, which is the limitless all. It's that first ray of light, and then the limitless light following, and all the light emanations. But it was kind of darkness, primordial darkness in the beginning. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. So the darkness, the primordial darkness. So that takes us into the feminine energy, the mother energy. So this true love, this unconditional divine love, this feminine energy, the mother energy is very, very, it's a very incredible thing. Father energy is very much associated with Chokmah and wisdom. The wisdom of the Father. That archetype, that energy which Raziel oversees, is a very crucial piece. The Bible is very masculine in nature. It's very patriarchal in nature. Sometimes it shows you the darker aspects of that force. And beings like Yahweh, and when they're referring to those things, and when God says go in and kill all the women and children, that's not source consciousness. That's not the real God. That's a demiurge or other intelligent being, like maybe Yahweh or something like that, which is not actual source. It's an aspect of God, it's an aspect of source, but it's not the original primal source. So let's get into the more primal mother energy and love. Now, I'm going to use the example of Harry Potter. If any of you have watched the Harry Potter movies, how does Harry Potter survive being killed? He doesn't get the curse. He has a scar left on his forehead. He has a very deep connection with Voldemort, but Voldemort was unable to kill Harry. Why is that? Because of the love of mother. Because of the love of Harry's mother. The mother. Her love saved him. Once again, we can kind of look at like it was a sacrifice, but it wasn't the same as Jesus, because Jesus was lending himself over to his enemies and all of this stuff. But this was her making one final act to protect her son. And it enabled and gave way, it gave space, opened up space for Harry to be able to live his life. And even though his life was hard and it was full of trials, she ultimately ended up saving him. And spoiler alert, Harry is successful in the end of the movies. So, yeah, it's that sacrificial nature. The mother gives up so much. Anyway, their body becomes the vessel for the baby to incarnate in. Not only are they pregnant for 9 months and then they give birth, but also they, if they're breastfeeding, they're also doing that as well. And that's draining on the body. If you're familiar with the Scottish Rite emblem, the Rose Croix emblem, or you might have seen it in Christianity, it's the pelican and all the baby pelicans are basically, they're feeding on the blood from the mother's breast, or from the mother. And this is like another martyr type symbol that we see. So when sacrifice is rightly done, and it is done for those that we truly love, especially in this kind of a way, this is true love. And so you have this type of motherly love on one hand, you have this kind of brotherly and camaraderie love on another hand, where we get together and we can talk about different subjects, and we help each other be better versions of ourselves. Men really kind of need like an initiation like that, almost more than women to a degree. Women kind of have their own initiation through like the menstrual cycle, and they bond in that kind of way, but men, they need like a fraternal or more of an initiation system a lot of the time to help them grow. Like, and we see that in shamanic cultures and stuff, like, the Native Americans and all that. They had their initiation system for their young men. There were, certain trials that they had to go through, and all of these sorts of things. So it's very, very important for there to be an initiation system of some kind for the masculine, especially if the masculine is going to be, we have a bunch of man children today, not real men. It's because they lack that proper understanding of being able to. Sometimes you have to know when to, just make space and make the sacrifice for growth to be able to take place. Don't sacrifice your whole being, but realize when Source wants you to take a step back. It wants you to not be so caught up in controlling everything that maybe you are meant to, and it's not all about us all the time, Sometimes you need to be shown that your part here on earth is to make way for the new energies to come in, for you to teach and for you to do your part, so that it can add to the arcana of wisdom, and there will be more understanding, and may the earth be benefited from your existence, from you being here. That's really the whole goal of initiation, is to be a better version of yourself and to benefit creation and all life, and benefit the expanding consciousness and awareness of other individuals. Just one last thing, I think, before I end this video. There was a brother who was awarded with one of the best honors that could be conferred within the Scottish Rite. And he was very humbled. He was surprised. He didn't know it was coming. And he just he got really emotional. And even in that speech, he talked about his mother, who grew up in really rough circumstances. And just the fact that she had been there supporting him all these years and enabling him to, she started in poverty and she ended up raising a successful son that, had a good life. And really, that's any parent can really hope for their children. And, as we see the brotherhood and sisterhood of God or Source, we are all children of God. We all are. So if we can help a brother, if we can help a sister, if we can help bring more harmony and unity to this planet, that's a beautiful thing. That mother energy, which has always been there from the beginning and supporting and giving birth to our existence. Let us be grateful for that. Let us be grateful for apparent source, awareness, that original portion of creation from which we all come, and from which we all stem. And the fact that we are able to even be here today and have this experience, to think that we started from mere atoms to become these beings that we are, and our souls are continuing to grow, we're continuing to evolve. This is just one part of our evolutionary journey, and helping each other and helping others on the process of evolutionary growth and support and love. This is real love. This is cosmic love. So, yeah, everyone, I hope that the message of this video today resonated with you. I wasn't sure exactly how I was going to get into the video today and how it was going to go, but I think I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. So if you are not already subscribed to Occult Perspectives, go ahead and do so if you will. I'm going to go ahead and put the link to my Patreon in the description of this video. So go ahead and check out my Patreon if you will. There's only one tier so far. It's only $5 to join. So you will get to listen to an audiobook of my book so far, Freemasonry and Ceremonial Magic. And hopefully I will also get the video of the Lesser Invoking Ritual of the Pentagram on there soon. So thank you all once again for being a part of this channel. It means so much. It's awesome to have you here on this journey with me as well. And I hope you all have a wonderful day or evening wherever you are in the world. I'm over here in America in a state called Ohio. So I sometimes wonder, I probably get a lot of people maybe from out of the country. So if you're from somewhere really unique and special and you want to share that, maybe comment below, and always feel free to, comment and get involved in the discussion and share these videos with like-minded people. So sorry I rambled on a little bit longer there than I meant to, but alrighty everyone, peace and blessings, and until next time.